In this lesson, we'll learn how to customize our theme using the visual editor. Now that we've chosen our theme, we aren't stuck with how it looks like right now. We can actually come and make a couple of changes here to our theme. And the way we do that is the screen we saw in our last lesson, which allows us to customize this. And we can get back there by coming up here to our site title, and right under our comments you'll see this option to customize. And once this loads, it'll take us right back here, which should look pretty familiar from our last lesson. We have the option to change those different screen sizes and some options for customizing it here on the right. The first option we have is this custom design, and it's actually an upgrade, and it allows you to make pretty much any change you want to your site. You can do things like change the font it uses, the colors, and even go into the CSS or cascading style sheets and make any kind of change you want to your theme at all, which I want to see what kind of mileage we can get just by using the free option. So we're not going to use this custom design upgrade, but you could test it out and see if you like it and just save those changes using this custom design. You just have to pay to make that upgrade, but at least they allow you to test it out and see if you'd want it, which is really cool. So right under this, we have the option to change the colors our site is using. It might have been kind of scary by saying that the custom design upgrade allows you to make those color changes, but some themes allow you to make some basic changes just by default, some of those free themes. So if we come down here to colors, you may or may not, depending on what theme you chose, maybe you're using Hemingway like I did, or maybe you wanted to try something a little bit different, you may see these grayed out, and that's because your theme doesn't have that extra feature built in already, which is why it's so important to come in and test out the different themes and make sure it has the kind of functionality you want and that you need. So our theme allows us to change the background, and we have a couple different palettes and things to choose from. So let's start by changing the background our theme is using. If I click on this white area, you can see this little button comes up here to change it, so we can click in here or on the change button, and we have three main options here to change our background. We can select an image to use instead of a color. It'll have some recommended colors that work well with the palette we've chosen. We can pick our own color, which will pull up a color picker if you click on this text right here, or you can change the header text color as well, which is kind of strange that it's hidden here in this background section, but you could do that here. And what I want to do, I don't want a solid color, although we can certainly do that. If you do want a solid color, you can see it'll test it out, and it'll even change the color of your text to be something that is mostly readable up against whatever background color you choose. So I want to come up here to select an image. And anytime you add an image to something on your theme or in WordPress, it's going to pull up your media library by default. So what this does is it stores every image you've ever added to your site. It's just really easy. If you repeatedly use a similar image, like a logo or something, you can find it right here in your media library, quickly available and easy to use. Or you can come over here to this first option to upload files if you don't already have anything in your media library. So since we don't, we want to choose this option. And we have two different ways we can add images here. We can select files directly, or you can also drag and drop images directly onto the screen here, which is really cool. It's going to automatically upload those for you. So even though you can't see it, I have an image saved on my desktop, so I'm going to drag this and drop it onto here so we can see how this works. So I have my image, and as I'm dragging it onto the screen, you can see it'll tell you to drop it to upload it to our site. So I just dropped that on there. You can see it's selected, so if you don't want to upload that or use it, you can unselect it, but in fact I do, and I want to choose select to add that as my background image. And after I upload it, you can see it changed from the upload screen to media library. So now I have this saved in here for future use. That's perfect. So I'm going to select this, and even though it doesn't look very different, you can see it has a very subtle kind of texture here used as a background, which if you like the subtle texture look, if you want something similar, you can actually come here to subtlepatterns.com, which I'll shrink this so you can see the address in the address bar. It's just subtlepatterns.com. It's a great resource for testing out just that, subtle patterns and textures, and they're completely free to use. So that's where I grab mine, and you can do the same thing if you want something similar. Otherwise, you have these solid color options, or you can leave it at the default. So I'm going to press done to accept those background changes. And now we can move down here to our colors. You can see right now it's using this kind of teal color, which you can see when I hover over this title, which is also a link. We can see that turquoise color. And down here I want to choose a different palette. It allows me this one, which is kind of a light gray color and a lighter turquoise, but I think I like this first option here. The text is darker, and if we had buttons or something, and we can see as we hover over it, we kind of have like a mustard color, which for me, I feel like it fits my theme better. Yellow is more of a food color rather than teal and gray. So I'm going to choose this first option, but I could also choose to match the header image if I want, but I think this is good for me. And I'm going to move on to this next option, the header option. And here you can change the header image that it's using by default. So you can upload your own custom image, which is exactly what I want to do here. But if you want no image here, you can also come here and hide the image. So it's going to remove that, and it's just using a solid background instead. So that's just another option for you. So I want to come down here to add new image. It's going to pull up my media library. You can see my textures here, and I want to come here to upload file. So I'm going to select a file, and you can see I'm in my 07 begin folder. So I just want to click in there, and I have this custom header.jpg. So if you want to test this out and follow it along, you have that file available to you to use. So I'm going to open this, and once it uploads it, we're in my media library tab, and I want to select it, and it's going to give you the option to crop it. So one thing here, I'm going to exit out of this so we can see, to note is it's going to tell you a recommended header image size for your theme, and you want to pay attention to that when you're creating your header if at all possible. Although you can crop that size from a fuller image if you want to do so. There, I just recommend it so you don't have any kind of stretching or distortion. It's just better to start at that recommended size. So I'm going to add that new image, and I'm going to select and crop. And since I don't need to crop it, I created it at that size, I'm actually going to click this first option to skip cropping rather than to crop the image. So if you need to crop it, you can certainly do that. But I notice sometimes if I create it at that needed size, if I crop it, sometimes it can kind of stretch it and distort it, excuse me. So I'm going to skip that and take a look, and you can see that that looks pretty good to me. So the next thing I want to do is I added my site title and my tagline in my custom header image. So I want to remove the site title and header or tagline that it's displaying automatically. And I can do that two options under here. In the site title option, you can see in this screen you could also change your site title and your tagline if you wanted to. And I want to uncheck this last option to display the header text. Since I already have that information already in my header image, I did that. That way it kind of feels more custom than using the template site tagline and title. So you can do that certainly as well, or you can leave it and display it if you want to also. So the last two options we have in this screen are to change the front page we're using right under site title, which we'll get to later in this course. And we also can customize the widgets our theme is using. So that's what we'll do in our next lesson when we learn about widgets and how to add and remove them to our theme.